watching Basement Politics with my guy, Freddie Vasquez.
Good afternoon, folks. Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Let's talk about the protected class. Good afternoon, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, coming on about the protected class. Why are some protected and others are targeted? Getting some information about some craziness going on here in the city of Yonkers. Employees wilding out. Good afternoon, folks. So I'm getting some information. I've been getting information from sources, individuals that are in the know, good, reliable sources. It's very interesting, some of the things that are going on. And I wanted to talk about this because it needs to be, it needs to be put out there, and just to show the, inequality that, that actually exists within the city departments. And I'm not referring to color, we're referring to class, right? You have certain individuals that are part of certain group, those that hold power and are connected and very much, feel entitled, act entitled, and get away with things that other individuals would not get away with, those who are not connected. And people wouldn't get away with in any job, anywhere you were to work in the real world, right? You would get fired right away, right? And I'm deciding to not name names right now, but, just know that I know the names. And so, I want to just talk about one individual. And this stems from some stuff that was happening last night, where an individual that's very much connected, his brother is a retired police officer, police lieutenant, and I spoke about him. And apparently he was going around calling other employees, from the DPW, asking them if they had a problem with him. According to sources, he was very upset, and they believe he was drunk and possibly under the influence of cocaine. This is an individual that's known to abuse cocaine, but he can get away with it because of his connections, who his family members are, and how they're connected to the administration, according to sources. I mean, this individual in a meeting, with the supervisor, with everyone there, the supervisor goes to him, if you have an issue with people here, we can have you transferred. And this guy responds by saying, I'll have you transferred before you transferred me. And then the supervisor just turned around and walked back to his office. And this was in front of other employees at a meeting. He's just blatantly showing his power, his influence because of his connections. So it doesn't matter that he's known to abuse drugs, that he's been aggressive with people. He's insulted people over the phone, other employees. He knows he can get away with this because of his brother. One of his brothers specifically. And this brother, who's a retired police officer, is very well connected. And I spoke about this man in 5 years, his last 5 years of being on the force, he made over $1.3 million. Taxpayer money, $1.3 million in the last 5 years. And so his steam, as Anthony DiMaggio puts it, is powerful enough to protect his family. Another brother who also works for the city was actually a felon, a convicted felon who committed a felony while employed by the city, but he was able to get his job back after returning home from prison. And now how many individuals get to have this luxury? You have a felony, which you commit while on the job. You serve 5 years in prison and you come home a felon, but you get rehired. And there are other people who are waiting to get a job and they can't get hired, right? And the way it's broken down, and this is in the contracts I'm hearing, the DPW contracts, is that half of the jobs are picked by the city hall and the other half by the union. So the first pick goes to the city, then the next pick goes to the union, then back to the city, then to the union. And so a lot of the guys that are hired are guys with connection to the city, to people in high places who will get them these positions. It doesn't matter if they're known to be aggressive, to assault people, to have criminal records, be felons, abuse cocaine. It doesn't matter. I mean, this individual gets to leave 2 hours early every day, right? After telling the supervisor that he'll have him transferred, he gets to leave 2 hours early every day. That's 5 hours or 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month. That's an entire paycheck, completely free, taxpayer money that this individual is making because he is a part of the protected class. And it's not fair. It's not fair when you have great employees that are targeted, that are written up and terminated simply for doing a great job and speaking out against this nepotism, this corruption that we've been seeing in, the papers lately. We've been seeing it in the LoHUD. We've been seeing it in the New York Post, right? And is it real? Well, with, information like this, it only tells me that, yeah, this is very real. The protection, the nepotism, the patronage jobs, it's a very real thing. A very real thing. And so individuals get to leave early, stealing taxpayer money, that stuff of time to go to other jobs or just go home. Some individuals, very high up, DPW employees, get to go to bars at 11 o'clock in the morning during work hours, then walk home, freshen up, and go back to work under the influence. And then you wonder why we have incidents like CJ Hackett and others. It's many. It's a lot. And so I want to put it out there because it's saddens me when employees that are great are targeted and are terminated. And that's not okay. And so to those people that have been there for a long time, that have worked their asses off, only to see this happen, this is for you. I have to put it out there. I have to let the people know. Those that are still making, barely $100,000 a year, while others are making $200,000 a year and don't do any work, get to leave early. Some even have no-show jobs. This is where we find the unnecessary spending, the cuts that we need to make. Our salaries cost the city 60% of its budget or more. And now we can bring that down without firing people, or maybe we could fire people, the right people, and that'll save us money, bringing that maybe to 50% of the city's expense, because 60% or more is a huge chunk of the revenue that the city has to work with. And ultimately, the school districts, the people of the city of Yonkers, the residents, the taxpayers, those that live here, that have been here forever, that have to drive on these roads and send their kids to the public schools, we are the ones that suffer, right? My ball joints on my car all messed up, many tires that I have blown because of potholes. That costs us money. No one's paying for that. Meanwhile, we pay taxes, and these individuals get to walk away with it in their pocket for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just one of the protected individuals. There's another one that I've been speaking about very recently that was seen at Tara's. And apparently from sources, people that have reached out to me, the individual was drunk and under the influence of cocaine as well, but he was just recently hired as a Yonkers police officer. Why would the city hire this individual? Because this isn't nothing new. He has a known history. In fact, he was involved in a fight in White Plains where, according to sources, he beat someone up there. He also beat someone up so bad at a fundraiser, they thought that he was going to kill the guy. What became of that? Absolutely nothing. And he's been known to abuse cocaine, and yet and still he was hired to be a police officer. Someone that's going to go out into the street and make contact with the public with a gun and other weapons, but has known issues of abuse of cocaine and aggression. That's dangerous. That puts the city, at risk. Those are liabilities, right? What if this guy's under the influence at work? It wouldn't be unusual. Many employees have been known to be at work under the influence. And so I want to just put that out there, because good cops will get terminated while others are promoted. And then you see what happens, like in the case of Anthony DiMaggio, where you have a protected class that, if you speak out, will come for you and take your job. And this is not okay. This is not okay. But this individual is very well protected. Family is very well connected. A lot of his family members have received jobs, have gotten attention. And for whatever reason, they get what they want. They get this level of protection where people know that they're abusing drugs, that they're aggressive, that they've beat people up, they've had records of assault. Is that not, enough to disqualify someone to become a Yonkers police officer? That's not okay. And meanwhile, individuals that try to do good here in the city of Yonkers become targets for harassment, for attacks, defamation. Brian Harrod doesn't speak about this. People know. People know about it. And again, I'm not going to mention the names, but just know that I do know the names. The point is just to get the information out there and let you know what's actually happened, not to get people in trouble. That's not the goal. But this has to stop. We can't allow employees to be hired who are under the influence, who have felonies, while we have so many other people that are looking for jobs, that have applied and have waited. We need to get these good people hired. This creates a problem for the city. That's not okay. And so I just thought that was also interesting that the city gets to pick the jobs or half the jobs for DPW, right? And so if you have a good relationship with people in City Hall, you will get a job. And, and I heard about an individual that works for the city of Yonkers that is, selling the cocaine to the employees. I was surprised to find out who it was. I was a little disappointed. I know this individual's family members. And so I'll just, say that. Another individual that I accidentally got in trouble, suspended for 2 months, I didn't even know that was you, is who's part of the protected class, recently failed 2 drug tests. First drug test he took, he failed. The second drug test, he was calling around, a bit concerned of what he's going to do, ended up getting some synthetic urine. The problem with that, it was cold when he took the drug test the second time, and they realized it wasn't, or they told him it wasn't warm enough for them to be able to test it. And so he failed that as well. But being part of the protected class, he made several phone calls, and it was officially recorded as he passed his drug test. But technically, he failed them twice. That's what you get. And this is an individual, again, that's definitely part of the protected class. He, is known to have gotten his job by working on campaigns like a lot of other people, door knocking and writing checks. And he kind of let the cat out the bag. And they got upset. So he was suspended for 2 months without pay. Now he's failing drug tests. Why is it that you need synthetic urine? Why is it that you failed the first time? Again, this is the problem with employees here in the city of Yonkers. Is a huge drug and alcohol problem. And so you get situations like the death of 16-year-old CJ Hackett, or you get a situation like Akeem Jamal driving down Central Avenue the wrong way, drunk, crashing into someone, injuring them. And you get into situations where employees themselves have killed them, have died driving under the influence and getting into accidents. And so it affects everybody, not just the person that's hit by a drunk driver, but the drunk driver's family. They suffer a loss as well. Right? So you guys have to think about this before you do it. I mean, it doesn't seem like it registers in your minds. You're still doing this after CJ Hackett was killed by a city employee who was driving drunk. I still caught city employees going to bars and with city vehicles. I mean, at the bar. I mean, parked in the bar's lot. So you know they went to the bar. You know they're at the bar. Right? And then they got into their vehicle and drove an hour home, drunk, under the influence. And this is known. This is not like it's a secret. Nobody knew about it. I just broke it. No. People know. People know. And so why isn't anything being done? Why isn't these individuals being fired? This is a liability to the city. Right? People get hurt. People die. Taxpayers pay lawsuits. It's just all around not a good thing. Right? And it shouldn't be happening. And individuals who have known cocaine problems, who are known to be aggressive, to beat people to a bloody pulp, should not be hired as Yonkers police officers. I mean, you know, what could happen out there in the street? That's also a liability, you know. But why is it, and, you know, I was talking to some individual about this, why is it that these individuals are so protected to that point where they present a liability to the city and to the person that hooked them up with the job? Why are they risking that to hook someone up? I don't understand. What is it that they know, right? So I was talking to a person. Do they know some crazy information? Right? What is it that they know that they get these kind of hookups? I mean, what is the benefit from it? What is the benefit by giving someone who is a felon, who committed a felony while he was already employed, gets out of jail and gets rehired? Where's the value for the city and the residents if you have an individual, if you hook an individual up with a job and he walks around like he runs the show and can tell a supervisor what to do and can be on drugs and call people up, harassing and menacing them, insulting them, and get away with it? What is it that they have? What value do they hold? What information do they know? I mean, it's not like these individuals are related to the mayor, right? But these individuals, for whatever reason, have a strong connection to City Hall and have had it for a very long time. And many of their family members are scattered throughout city departments. And they get to abuse power. They get to, you know, have no-show jobs. So that costs taxpayer money, and that's not okay. So again, I'm not going to say the names. I know people might know the name, but, you know, maybe some of you can figure it out just by the information that I gave. And, you know, eventually, you know, if it continues, the names will be put out there because, again, just looking for this to stop. It's not okay. And to leave the good people alone. Right? I mean, there's individuals over there that have sexually assaulted, you know, colleagues in our public schools, and still they're still employed. And a lot more other stuff that I have yet to talk about, which, you know, maybe eventually I will. And so just want to put that information out there because, you know, people have been coming to me for the past few months now with this information and just saying, this is crazy. It's the worst it's ever been. The nepotism and the corruption is so disgusting. So disgusting. People are getting away with murder, literally. People are stealing time. People are doing whatever the hell they want. They're selling drugs in there. They're using drugs in there. People are crashing city vehicles. Right? Recently, a guy crashed his third or fourth vehicle. It's not just Corazon. Shanae Williams has crashed I don't know how many vehicles, and the city was sued for it. So there's a lot of these internal problems that individuals who have been part of politics for so long that remain here, that get shuffled around, that get recycled, they develop this culture that they can feel like they can do whatever they want, take whatever taxpayer money, give whoever they want a job, give them however raises they want, you know, however much raise they want, whatever promotion they want. Doesn't matter if they abuse drugs. Doesn't matter if they've destroyed city property. Doesn't matter if they've assaulted people. Doesn't matter if they can't pass the civil service exam. It's okay because we're all buddies. We're all part of the same crew, and we look out for each other because even when we're mad at each other, we don't expose this information. That's how it is. You see it. You see people now going against the mayor, going against the administration, but they're not putting any real information out there that they know, information that should be put out there. they're like really like, you know, being cautious about what they actually say. So that's what kind of concerns me about their, you know, their you know, honesty, or if they're genuinely wanting to truly, you know, win. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. That's the information. That's what's happening out there. You know, hey, I put it out there. I got more information, you know, and I'll slowly put out there. Sorry about Anthony DiMaggio last night. For whatever reason, I could not stream live Facebook at all, and it got me frustrated. I eventually figured it out, but at that point, I was just not in the mood to actually go on and do a podcast. So we'll see when he's going to be coming on, and I'll announce that prior to doing the show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah, nice delay. Again, if you have information, email me. It's the best way to get a hold of me. Better than giving me a call. You can send a text, but email politicwithfred@gmail.com. Again, politicwithfred@gmail.com. Continue sending the information. You know, if you feel that there's something that's going on that puts the public at risk, like employees, you know, out there under the influence of anything while at work, while operating city vehicles or any vehicles, please let me know. That poses a safety risk to the city, to the public. As we've seen, people get killed, people get injured. And if you've applied to become a police officer and have been waiting and you are not abusing cocaine, have not assaulted anyone, and for whatever reason have not been hired, maybe you should get an attorney. Fatality. And to that supervisor that got told what to do, man, why is it that these individuals are so protected? Email me anonymously at politicwithfred@gmail.com. Let me know. Freddie wins. Fatality. Stop harassing the great people. No!